So you can already do a push-up well, and you're wondering what to do next. Well, there are a bunch of progressions in our app that you can start working towards, such as the one-arm push-up, or the explosive push-ups, and there are a bunch of variations and progressions that we have in our app. So once you master that first original one, you've unlocked a whole bunch more that you should look into. So today we're going to show you a bunch of other variations that you can try. Some are in the app and some are completely different. So we'll show you some more advanced variations coming up. We've got 10 variations of push-ups. So first, the slow tempo push-up. So the slower, the better. It's showing that you have control and strength in each phase of the push-up. So it can do a lowering of 4 or 5 seconds on the descend, as well as the ascending portion where you start to straighten your arms, keeping a slow tempo throughout both. Next, we've got the resistive push-ups. So we used a resistance band hooked on both hands and then going behind the shoulders. You could also have someone push down on your shoulders. You could also have a weight plate on your back, but some sort of resistance added to the push-up. The next variation is the single leg push-up, where there are only 3 points of contact on the ground, 2 hands and 1 foot. The other foot is simply stacked on top of the other, and this should require more core engagement to do the push-up. Fourth, we've got the tucked planche push-up. So using parallettes or an elevated surface, assuming the tuck planche position, and then performing push-ups in this position, trying to ensure that the hips maintain level with the shoulders throughout each part of the push-up. Fifth, we've got a couple different slider push-up variations. The first is pushing up, where one half is reaching forward with straight arms. The other half is doing the push-up and alternating sides, reaching forwards, returning, switching. The second variation was the opposite direction, so one half doing a push-up, the other arm reaching rearwards towards the hips, sort of like a Maltese type position if you're familiar with that on rings. And again, returning back to the top and alternating sides. One arm is locked, the other arm is doing the bent arm strength. Six, we did the ring push-ups, and in this instance we had the rings as close to the ground as possible to make it level with my feet, and performing a neutral grip ring push-up, finishing the lockout at the top. This is more difficult due to the stability required because it's an open chain exercise where the arms, hands are relatively in free space. They're not anchored down to anything, and you have to stabilize while doing the push-up. Seventh was the archer push-up, which was similar to the slider push-up in the fact that one half is doing a push-up and the other arm is going laterally to a T position, straight out to the side. So alternating arms. Notice I've got a small separation between my feet for a little bit of balance because this is an asymmetrical exercise. We'll start to rotate a little bit if your feet are completely together, so I like to have a little bit of a separation in the feet. And again, one arm is locked, doing a fly-like movement. The other half is doing a push-up, and we're alternating. Eighth, we tried the Physio ball push-up. So similar to the rings, this requires more stability through the shoulders because the ball is now an unstable surface compared to the ground. Got to stabilize while doing the push-up. Ninth, we've got the pseudo planche push-up, where you've got to lean forwards, which is more of a planching before doing the push-up, and this will load the anterior deltoids much more heavily compared to the normal push-up. And the further you lean forward, the more difficult it is. It's common to pike the body where it looks like there's a hinge in the hip. You want to keep this completely straight, and starting off on the plank, lean the shoulders forwards, carry on and try the push-up, and then return back to the plank. And lastly, the 10th variation we have is the explosive push-up. So generating a lot of speed and force into the ground so much that you're actually able to come off the ground completely, catch it, return, and repeat. So these are the 10 variations of advanced push-ups that you can do once you've mastered the classic push-up. We've got plenty more in the Movement Athlete app, and here are plenty more aside from that because there are an infinite amount of push-ups and some that I've created myself, and we'd love to hear if you've tried any of these, if you've got your own variations that you've made up when doing so, or even have a request of something you've thought of. But these are 10 extra variations of push-ups once you've mastered current classic push-up. So there you go. Good luck. One thing that we've realized from training thousands of calisthenics athletes is that if your training is not personalized, it can hinder your progress, leave you injured, stuck, or plateaued. With the Movement Athlete, instead of having beginner, intermediate, and advanced exercises, we have exercises that will be tailored specifically to you. It's also important to be well-rounded with your training. For example, some people have really strong legs, they might have weaker arm pulling muscles, or are lacking the shoulder mobility for handstands. You are a unique individual, and your levels of strength, mobility, and flexibility are different from everyone else's, and your training should reflect that. If you want to build skills, get stronger, and do it in a holistic way that will keep you healthy for years and help reduce injury, you've got to personalize your training. But the reality with personal training is that it can be pretty pricey, and it's often not available for what you want. And that's why we created the Movement Athlete Assessment.